Hello guys, and welcome to the final walkthrough of 8.1. This path, in my opinion, is I would say it's one of the hardest quests to find a path that suits you. I went for the path beginning with Spider-Man Miles Morales, and it ends with Purgatory. There are a few nodes on here that are a little bit annoying, but you can definitely get used to. While the defender has an armor up, they become passively unblockable. So just before we start, the only champ who starts with an armor up, is Angela. So straight from the fight, she'll be unblockable. Really be aware of that. We've also got boost buff. So the defender's armor ups gain 75% duration. When struck with a critical hit, you remove it. So really, even if they do get an unblockable, you've just got to hit them and that unblockable will go away. The best way to see it will be in the Tigra fight next. That's a really good example of how it works because she gets a lot of armor ups from her special attacks. Turtling is another one. If the attacker hasn't landed a hit in 6 seconds, the defender gains an armor up buff. Obviously, that then makes them unblockable and lasts 75% longer. But then you've got parry vulnerability. Each time you land a successful parry, you gain a fury buff, increasing rating by 75%, but it's up by 200% if they're stunned. So you want to try and, if you're going for a special attack, stun them first. And then finally, from my cold dead hands, if a buff is nullified, staggered, or fate sealed, you gain a 200% direct damage, and armor breaks count as nullifies for armor up buffs. So I'd really recommend against using armor break champs to get rid of this armor buff, or stagger, nullify, or fate seal, because that will cause you to gain a lot of damage. I would either say neutralize, but that doesn't actually work, as you can see with Angela here, or didn't for me for some reason. Or I would also say unblockable counters like Ghost, because of her phase, Shang-Chi, Apocalypse, or high crit champs. Champs like Black Widow, Deadly Origin, Mole Man, Hitmonkey, Hercules, Falcon, Nick Fury, Shang-Chi, just because these do a lot of damage. But really, you can bring anyone. Obviously, you need somebody for that Miles Morales, somebody who's a miscounter. Nick Fury or Professor X are two that come to mind straight away. I use Professor X. Hercules would also work really well. And then, apart from that, you want somebody who can deal with Mordo. I use Quicksilver for the power gain. And Spider-Ham, I also use Professor X because of his evades. There are a lot of skill champs who you can use for this. Mole Man, obviously, Falcon, Nick Fury, as I've previously said. But it shouldn't be too tricky once you get the hang of it. It is still hard. It's the last of 8.1.6. It's going to be pretty difficult. But, don't get demoralized if you are it's taking you a bit longer to get used to it. It took me a few attempts just to get this run, and then once I got it, I was quite used to the path, and I could do it a couple times until I ran with a lot of health. It's probably the best I've actually played in a long time. I did it after coming back from hospital, so I was quite pleased with that. It went really well, and I really, really enjoyed playing with both Quicksilver and Professor X from this. They're probably my two favourite champs right now. Absolutely love playing with them. But yeah, it is a difficult path. All paths are pretty hard. The other one is a mutant path. If you've got bleed immune mutants like Apocalypse, Omega Red, Magneto, then definitely take that path because it's really easy. Colossus works really well as well. Can smash those paths with big SP2s. But I went with this one instead because I don't really have those. I've got Kitty Pryde with her phase, but that wasn't always super reliable. So instead, I just went with this one. That's basically it for this path. I would say, as I've said, Spider-Ham, you've got to bring somebody who counters evade and watch out for his power stings. Mordo, somebody to deal with that power gain. The same with Purgatory. Quicksilver's really good for this. Other champs who put withers on, Spider-Man 2099, power control champs like Doctor Doom. Oh no, don't bring Doctor Doom. Has a bad recommendation because of his stagger. But somebody who is able to deal with it there. They are all the tricky fights. I will then... this video is obviously going to be a long one because it has the Scytalis boss on it. But I'll be looking to put quite a lot of information in this to make the Scytalis boss easier for you, and hopefully you don't have to use as many units and revives as I did. So we'll jump into that boss fight in a minute. As I said, look out for those tricky defenders, and then I will see you in that fight. And yeah, I'll see you there. So welcome back, guys. We're now at the Scytalis fight. There are a few phases for this one. So initially going in, she has quite a few of the abilities, but the main aspects to this quest, in my opinion, are traps. So every time she finishes the special attack that is below her bar, it will either have a 1 or a 2. If it's a 1, she'll lay a trap after her SP1 where she stood, or after her SP2. Then an orange trap sign will come up, which I will point out to you in the video in a minute. That will say that the trap will be placed. Once the trap is placed in phase 1, it takes 1.5 seconds for the trap to arm. Once it's armed, you have to either push her in it in phase 1 just by getting her close to it, or parrying, or like using your SP1 to push her in it, or heavy attacking her into it. And then that's when she loses her corrupted her armor. It becomes corrupted armor, and that causes her to take a lot of damage. I think 600% extra damage. However, when you use attacks that are medium, light, medium, you see there on the screen the power gain and evade. That is because when you do a medium attack, or when you end with a medium attack, she will throw an instant evade, put 2 beams at you. You can gain power from these just by if you block it, you gain power. If you dex it, I believe she gains power. Or if it hits you, she definitely gains power. So you can see here, the icon is 1. She puts the trap down, but I die. But I'll be able to show you this in more clear detail. It just took me a few minutes to get used to the fight. I did, once again, with all my boss fights, I got sort of used to it. It made it a lot easier. But the fight is all about hitting her into this trap. So you'll see she's placed the trap. The icon is now purple. Sorry, no, orange, and that means that the trap is armed. There you see I push her into it with my SP1. She takes about 600% extra damage, and then you basically have to do this again. Phase 1 is from 100% to 81%. Phase 2 is from 80 to 40, and phase 3 is from 40 to 10 or to 5, and then phase 4 is 5 to 0. So every time you put her in the trap, you gain a prowess. This prowess stays on your attacker, no matter, sort of, say I die here with Tiger and then I bring in Gallon, I will then keep those prowesses. They are crossfight, which is really, really handy. And you can use that evade, which you saw on the second medium attack, to your advantage. Either use it to gain power, or for her to gain power to push her to the special attack that you need. So obviously you can see on screen now, it's 1, that's what I need. So I need her to throw an SP1 to set the trap, and then push her into that trap once it is set. So as you can see, the trap is now set. It's gone orange. I can now hit her in. I use my SP1 to put her in because it just gives you more distance, means you can do it. And then just try and go to town on her, do as much damage as I possibly can. And that's basically the course of the fight. When you end with a medium, as you can see there, she did the evade. I still have 1, so I need to push her back into that trap again. Here, I'm not really sure what I was dancing around with. I should have just chucked her in. Clearly, I didn't do that. And then she set another trap. I almost get hit in it. But I throw my SP3 just in time and allow this to do basically as much damage as I can. Get her to throw another trap set down. The trap is now set. And you just basically follow around in this sequence. As you can see there, she went back into it. She walked back into it. You can only do that in phase 1, so you really have to be aware of that. Otherwise, you have to use special attacks or heavy attacks to push her in. There aren't so much good counters for this, maybe just champs who do a lot of special attack damage or can do a lot of base damage like Hercules, because that is obviously increased by 600%. Keep Pride worked really well for this. I know Colossus can be really good for this. But you just have to be really wary of where that trap is, because you see here I get pushed back into the trap. You take a lot of damage if you get pushed into the trap. She also goes unblockable, which is really annoying. But here, you see under the screen in phase 2, which we are now in, it goes to the SP2. So now I have to, every time she chucks her SP2, that's when she'll set a trap. The trap won't arm until 3.5 seconds, so the trap then lasts longer. And she also, you'll see a armor sign underneath her. She will still have corrupted armor for that part as well, even shortly after the trap. So she doesn't gain her armor back straight away, which is really, really handy. So yeah, it's really all about just bringing in special champions with good special attack damage and a lot of damage, and making sure you're aware of the special attack that she needs to send. You see there, I'm using my 5-hit combos to give her some power so she can get to that SP2. Going back, she set the trap, wait for it to set. Unfortunately, you see there, I get hit in it, which was just bad play, really. I should have done better there, but I chucked my SP3 to get out of it and get her to throw her a special attack again. And then obviously, because the trap is not arming, it means that I have to basically go and get her to do another one a bit further away from where that one was. But unfortunately, I get hit. So the premise of this is really, really quite simple. She does have a lot of abilities, but they can basically all be ignored because the main goal is putting her in a trap, doing as much damage as you possibly can, and getting her to different phases. So that's phase 2, 80% to 41%. The traps will be placed with special 2. And then when you get from the phase 3, which is 40%, those phases, then traps will be placed with SP1. So I'll let you guys watch out this phase 2 until it's done, see how I do it, and then I'll see you again in phase 3 to talk you through that one. Right, so I finally managed to get down to phase 3. The traps will be placed again with SP1. That is what's underneath her her health bar. So you just have to remember that. Remember that it to dex that last special attack. This trap is not armed until 5.5 seconds after itself, so that is a lot longer than all of the other ones. But it's all about pushing her in again, as you guys know. The good thing about this is that they are, although they take longer, if you do happen to just go past the trap, you can then dex back, dash back past it, or back towards pushing her in if you do happen to go over it. But as you'll see, I will do later on. But it's just about getting her in this. As soon as you get used to it, like you see here with Galen, I'm now used to the fight. You can put her in. Look at those incinerates. They're doing like 3k damage a pop. It's really, really good on there. But yeah, once you get down to this one, this phase doesn't take too long because you would already been used to it. You would have gained all those prowesses. You can see I'm now on 12 for Galen, which is massive. But it's just about chucking her in the trap, doing as much damage as you can. On this path, as I said, ending on a medium will cause her to evade. She'll also get cleanse as well, so she will be able to cleanse some of your special attacks, so you might not be able to parry and stun her every time, but if you don't choose this path, you should be able to do it on other paths. You should be able to just do it all the time, so you've got to watch out for that cleanse as well, but I think it's a willing sacrifice because I believe the rest of the path is quite tricky. So trying to make it a bit more simple for you guys is the goal here. So you can see here now she's into the final phase, which is phase 4. In this phase, traps will be placed with the SP2. Traps arm itself after 7.5 seconds, so that's a long time. Traps can be triggered with specials only, so you can't hit her into the trap with a heavy attack. However, she doesn't then take that 600% increase. She only takes damage, or the corruptions only. So you see here I walk around the trap because it's not armed. Prowess is consumed to reduce the potency of corrupted armor, so she won't have that that armor save. You'll be able to do regular damage, and then that you just have to go from 5% to 0, doing basically regular damage. You'll see here that she's on about 3 for me. It will take me a couple goes with her. I believe I might actually have her here after this SP2. If I can just get her back, I think I throw the SP2 with mind control on, and that allows me to oh no, I throw my SP3, which I don't really remember doing. But yeah, you can only use special attacks to get her into the trap, so don't try and heavy her because she won't go in. But yeah, it's all about for this last phase, it's just making sure that you get her into the trap, do as much damage as you possibly can. You'll see that she's now on 1%, 26k health left, and just finishing her off with Professor X. And yeah, that's basically the fight. If this has helped you out, or if you've got any questions, please leave them down below in the comments and I will answer those. Thank you so much for watching this video, and do leave it a like if it's helped. I hope you've enjoyed the 8.1 walkthrough and it's helped you out a ton. If it has, share it with others, some of your friends or alliance members who you know might be struggling with this path, and that will be really appreciated. I'll see you in tomorrow's video, which will be the rewards. They will come in tomorrow's video, the video straight the day after this. It's just because this video is already as long as can be, and if you just come for the rewards, then I'll put them in a separate video. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in that video to open up 3 6-star crystals. Thanks so much for watching. See you later. Goodbye.